Today, the price of silver skyrocketed. A bullion broker I spoke with yesterday predicted that we would reach new all-time highs. And here we are. This interview is a must-watch. Where is the peak? I am uncertain. Both of those metals, in my opinion, are going to reach new all-time highs very soon. What do you think is the most prudent purchase to make at the moment? For those who are just starting out in the precious metals industry, the gold and silver you need can be purchased online at SD Bullion. Visit sdbullion.com/new to purchase gold or silver instantly. The gold? Where is it now? There are only 2 coins remaining in the exhibit, Harry. We still can't keep enough of it in store, even at these record prices, especially when it comes to our gold. However, fractional is usually sold out as soon as it arrives, since that's what most people can afford. Half an ounce from yesterday is still here? That's surprising. However, it will be disastrous if we bring in a buffalo. So, seriously? Yeah. And eagles nearly as quick? Yeah. People are buying because they are afraid they will miss out. Okay. I'll admit that I read about the first ever break of $4,000 per ounce in gold futures in the news today. A gold spot price has also gone up. At the moment, it's up about $25. It's almost $4,000 per ounce. Are you predicting that we will reach 4,000 this week? It would be possible for us to do it today. Unless there's a huge profit taking today, I've noticed a $13 swing since I arrived this morning, and another $13.80 were at $4,000 earlier. Either today or tomorrow, I believe we will travel there. I have a question for you. Does this mean that silver will drop to $50 per ounce if gold reaches $4,000? Once again, we're on the cusp. Just under $2 separates us from that. Consequently, it is possible that both metals will reach new highs before the week ends. And this is the thing as well. The price of silver has already reached $50 per ounce. Get a pound of silver for less than $50 if you can. Now that silver has taken a small tumble, we're up around 49 or 50. But just look at the eagles and the government rounds. That's more than $50. We aren't dealing in the spot market when it comes to the physical market, you know. It's the market for paper. At 50, we are. Okay, gentlemen, we've arrived. Here it is. Does it make sense for individuals to buy gold and silver now, with prices going up? Like we mentioned in earlier videos, I had a lot of people say, I'm not buying at 2,000 an ounce, so it's just conjecture whether you think it's at the super top or not. They'll be waiting for it to drop again, so I'll just sit tight. Where then is the peak? I am uncertain. In the 2 minutes since we began filming, gold has gained an additional $1.70. My uncle was considering purchasing additional metals after purchasing one, according to our talk yesterday. Hey, look, you've got some spare cash? Buy some metals, I implied. I can almost feel his relief. Additionally, he plans to delve into additional topics. Then he turned to me and said, Hey, what do you think will happen to the prices of silver and gold? And my reaction was, you know what? Truthfully, I am going to tell you this. I am uncertain. As a result, they will rise. They're about to collapse at any second. This is completely new ground for us. I mean, silver is at a record high, and gold is absolutely at a record high. Everything else has gone up in value, but our dollar has lost so much ground that it's hard to remember. That leaves just gold and silver as commodities that have failed to rise. It seems like we're constantly playing catch-up then. The market has formed new bottoms, and it is holding resistance admirably, in my opinion. Furthermore, we are not witnessing the typical steep declines that accompany gains of $50 to $100. On a daily basis, we continue to set new records. Plus, looking back at previous historical highs, You could always find an explanation for why the metals were doing that. The Hunt brothers, for example, were involved in an attempt to control the silver market in 1979. The insurance and banking crises that rocked the metal markets from 2009 to 2011 were a major factor. However, what are you able to identify at this time that can be fixed quickly or even in the near future that might alter the current market dynamics? I may be overlooking something, but I don't see anything that would cause it to move. The market is simply acting in its usual manner, and it's currently rising. It's also in the midst of a perfect storm. Like, when you consider everything that's happening in the globe, it's not just one issue, like Harry stated. The pressure on silver and gold that has been building up for years is finally starting to burst. And it's not even like we're waiting for news about a specific subject. There are just too many things happening at once. Along those lines, when silver hit $50 per ounce, gold wasn't at $4,000 per ounce. It was more like $800 or $1,500. Therefore, everything is different now, isn't it? Since we've done videos where the ratio was 120 to 1 a few years ago, gold has really been in the lead this time around. Silver has only just woken up and started to follow gold's enormous run-up. Then we dropped to, 80 or something like that. So, at the moment, silver is the metal that is changing hands. That ratio gap is being filled, though, by gold as well. Both of those metals, in my opinion, are going to reach new all-time highs very soon. I guess the metals market may take a hit if good news spread globally. However, I would like that. Honestly, I'd prefer positive updates. At least this is my home. Unfortunately, I do not foresee any good news breaking soon. Yeah, I also don't. What is the most effective method for storing silver? I've been asked by many. Whether you plan to keep it in your home safe or want to take it with you on a trip, you did say that the stacking vaults were back in stock, didn't you? Are you Harry? Yeah. Late last week, we received 200 units and are already fulfilling orders. At this point in time, we have likely sold approximately 1/4 of them. We are pleased to inform you that we still have an ample supply and can indeed fulfill your order. Yeah, being waterproof is one of the many reasons why these are fantastic. Also, they are completely waterproof. Thus, it will aid in preventing the corrosion of your silver. Plus, you know what they say. If your silver is spotless, it appears brand new. Keeping it in pristine condition will likely increase its marketability. I am certain of it. What we call retail-friendly silver is what a normal coin store or dealer will ask for. We would prefer it if it remained undamaged and unblemished, free from any visible signs of wear and tear. Buyers are vying for the attractive one. This will help them remain that way, since if two options are equally attractive, they will choose the attractive one. You could even fly with these if you're interested in traveling with your silver. A small airlock is located here that can be opened. That way, the case will remain rigid. None of it will happen. These stacker vaults are also quite convenient for transporting silver. Accordingly, I believe they are an excellent purchase. I see. Keep in mind that the first inspiration for them arose from the fear that someone might reach inside a safe and take something valuable, like a tube of coins or a tube of soap, if the door was slightly pried open. In contrast, a great deal more probing will be required to open that door if they are already inside. That would make it possible to enter. Thus, it's not only an aesthetic problem for the silver, it's also a security one. Its small size makes it easy to carry in a backpack, which is another perk. Yeah. Think of those who, prepper, or whatever they call themselves. A bag to go? You can't predict your destination or the conditions you'll face while you're traveling with a backpack containing your true necessities. Your metals will be safe, at least. Indeed, it is correct. The fact that it's American-made is another plus in my book. Well, that's another point. I have no issues with that. Not a single gripe. The fact that people are coming in to purchase gold and silver has me wondering, Harry. Have any new stackers shown up? Can you tell if these customers are first-timers? Yesterday, I overheard Adrian assisting someone who admitted, "I'm new at this. I am confused on what to purchase." As I was driving in this morning, I was listening to the news on the radio. Additionally, I've heard a rumor that rings true with what you mentioned, that the futures market for gold has reached $4,000. Someone who isn't a stacker hears a tale like that on their way to work. Plus, they believe that Joe, who works for them, purchases precious metals. That is something I ought to be purchasing. The result is that it makes it into the non-collector media, or lay media, where it causes people to wonder what they've been missing. So, we are meeting a ton of new people, which is great, but it's taking some work on both of our parts to obtain the information necessary to know what to buy so that we don't waste money. Spending your hard-earned money without first having some idea of what you want or your goals is a waste of money. What do you think is the most prudent purchase to make at the moment? The best metal for your money is sound advice for those who are just starting out in the precious metals market. What I mean by fancies is that I've witnessed fresh folks do the exact opposite and buy them. This gorgeous container contains 1/2 ounce of silver coins that were struck at a mint somewhere in the world. Plus, it has a concept that nobody cares about, but it's packaged in an attractive way. When they try to sell against the Buffalo Round, which is selling at or around spot, they end up extremely disappointed. What you have is sufficient. An ounce of silver is in your possession. If you're not an expert, it's best to stay away from the frills, especially if you're merely going to stack them against something else with a similar motif. Get as much silver as you can for your money. Prefer to use generics. Keep with buffaloes, if at all possible. After all, they are the most popular design now available. Sells quickly. The 100-ounce bars are really appealing, if I may say so. However, bear in mind that silver is not divisible, so you will not be able to easily sell any of it once the time comes. It is divisible, I suppose, but not in a commercial sense. Still, I recommend doing rounds, as Harry said. No doubt about it, Buffalo rounds are a fantastic choice. However, I would suggest thinking about purchasing 100-ounce bars if you are in it for the long haul and don't plan on selling your silver for at least a few years. When saving up for silver, I recommend Buffalo rounds because you can sell 5 or 10 at a time instead of selling your entire 100 ounces all at once. This is especially helpful if you anticipate needing the money in the next few years. All right, there is a 10-ounce silver bar and several 1-ounce bars here. So, I was wondering, would the pricing be the same for 10 of the 1 ounce or 1 of the 10? Price remains unchanged. We start with the harder to sell kilo and 100-ounce bars when determining price breaks. As for Adrian's point, I could sell the 1-ounce bars individually if I bought 10 of them. However, I would literally have to sell the entire chunk if I were to purchase one of the 10-ounce bars. Yeah, I see what you're saying. You might want to consider trading a 1-ounce bar of silver instead of your 10-ounce bar if you ever feel the need to exchange it for food or anything else. The former would be easier to manage, in my opinion, because 10 ounces is a substantial amount of money to spend. Yes, I would much rather purchase silver by the ounce than by the bar though. Those silver rounds would be perfect for me to purchase. I agree with Harry that the best item to stack right now are those Buffalo rounds. On the other hand, I enjoy 10-ounce bars. If you're going to stack them, that's the highest increment of weight I could suggest. Simple to sell once more. No dealer is going to decline a deal because they don't feel like dealing today. Dozens of others will purchase a 10-ounce bar. Yes, you make a valid argument. It is among our most popular items. In all candor, customers come in. Are there any 10-ounce bars available? Oh, we were just out the majority of the time. We do, however, have incoming supplies. Sure, I can get you a few more. We feel like we're constantly restocking on it. A 10-ounce silver bar does feel good in the palm of my hand, I must admit. Indeed it does. The job is done well. Compared to a kilogram, it isn't very pleasant. The price is significantly lower, though. Harry, I have one final query. You brought up the difficulty of obtaining certain types of silver from the wholesaler in our video last week. Also, I've seen that other stores are running out on supply. Does it seem to be the standard these days? Is it due to the high demand for this new silver product, in your opinion? Having greater patience is definitely required. The store is usually run on a just-in-time inventory system, you know. We are able to weather price swings unscathed, since we don't hold a large inventory on hand. A lot of the items we prefer to have on hand, like buffalo rounds, take at least a week to arrive when ordered from the major dealers, but if you wire them, they'll ship it the same day. As a result, when we're in a bind, we'll buy a box of silver from some kind local bullion traders. I'm getting the impression that you should probably prepare ahead more than I have, because there will be a little more waiting than in the past few months. Due to the refiner's backlog, it appears incredibly intriguing. They have an abundance of silver, but there isn't really an abundance of the new silver product. From what I've heard, their solid foundation is the stuff they want to break down and use as raw materials. Objects that are going to be melted down include jewelry, bars, and rounds of lower grade, and even eagles. However, there is absolutely no backup for the new items. Actually, I believe you will need to be patient. It may happen in the next few days, but I intend to wait for silver to reach its all-time high until then. Time will tell. Perhaps within the next few hours. I will certainly keep an eye out for that. My deepest gratitude, Harry. Yours faithfully, Silver Dragons. Adrian, I am very grateful. Much obliged.